Hello and welcome to Clay Pigeon on the 12th of July 2020 for round 2 of the NKRA and Blue Challenge. The Blues are back after lockdown, everyone was itching to get back on the circuit and it really showed with the 3 fantastic heats we had already today. Heat 1 was won by David Watts from Stuart Gray with Anthony Cleal, Taylor Waldron and Michael Bell rounding out the top 5. Heat 2 also won by Dave Watts, this time from Taylor Waldron with Sarita Schoen in 3rd, Anthony Cleal in 4th and Ben Joseph, the junior Blue champion of 20 years ago, rounding out the top 5. And in Heat 3, Russell O'Neill took the win from Taylor Waldron with Michael Bell, Sarita Schoen and Anthony Cleal making up the top 5. Those results of those 3 heats are going to come together and form the grid for the final as we're about to roll out onto the circuit for the rolling lap. You can see there, number 3, Dave Watts leading us out, and he will take the pole position, on tiebreak in fact, from the number 2 of Taylor Waldron. Anthony Cleal, the number 1, lining up in 3rd alongside the number 4, Sarita Schoen. And on row 3, number 5, Michael Bell, ahead of number 6, Russell O'Neill. So the top 6 in the National Championship last year, locking out the top 6 grid slots for the race here today. David Good with a good performance, going to run up into 7th place. He's going to start alongside David Waldron in his new Octane. Paul Dybel in 9th, ahead of Ben Joseph in his return to the class. Paul Alexander and Kevin O'Neill are going to be starting behind him, with the top novice, Kieran Quirk, starting in 13th. An unfortunate non-start for Stuart Gray. He's going to promote Ron Schoen, Alan Lewis and Jeff Webster all up a position, with unfortunate non-starts for Toby and Mark Cook due to various problems throughout the day. As you can see now, rolling up onto Top Bend, we're on board with the number 8 of David Waldron, that's number 6 Russell O'Neill and number 5 Mike Bell ahead of us. Going to go out of Top Bend and now keep an eye on David Watts when he puts his foot down. The race is underway and we are away! Good start from the top 6. Bell's been caught napping a little bit and O'Neill slotted in ahead. Bell's going to switch back to the outside. Now we go off board and look at that. Several side-by-sides all round turn 1 through Billy's blind and Bell's going to hold it round the outside of O'Neill into the S's. Bell retakes 5th ahead of O'Neill. David Waldron's up to 7th, but Dave Watts carries the lead ahead of Taylor Waldron with Anthony Cleal and Sarita Schoen. Top 4 still as they were. Good start there from Alan Lewis. He's up ahead of Paul Dybel. And now we're on board with Kevin O'Neill. He's chasing Kieran Quirk. The novice, the number 27, making a good getaway. Unfortunately, Kevin O'Neill slipping down a few spots. And now we're going around to finish the first lap. Watts leading from Waldron, Cleal, Schoen, then a gap. Bell and O'Neill side by side. Russell O'Neill looking to the right. He's going to hold it to the inside of Billy's. And he's going to make the pass stick. Bell trying to switch back underneath, but to no avail. That's Russell O'Neill up into 5th. Bell down to 6th. Now he's got to defend from Waldron. Meanwhile, Watts, Waldron and Cleal, top 3 as quick as that. You can see everyone there in one big line. Jeff Webster bringing up the rear as it stands. Kevin O'Neill now on the attack of Kieran Quirk, and Quirk's going to shut the door. Show Kevin O'Neill a clean pair of heels, and through the horseshoe they go. Around buttons and up to the to pit bend. There go the leaders. Down the straight once again. Dave Watts pulling out a bit of a gap. 2/10 clear on that lap. Top 4 starting to eke away from O'Neill. Then there's Bell, Waldron, Joseph, Good. It's Dybel, and that's a spin. That's Alan Lewis going around, and Jeff Webster goes with him. So the 2 novices dropping it into Billy's blind. It's a tricky corner at the best of times. Now we look down from the hairpin. There's Dybel, there's Ron Schoen. Kevin O'Neill gets past Kieran Quirk in all of that, so O'Neill's up 3 spots in 1. So now we have Waldron going side by side. Bell's going to hang around on the outside though. Bell's going to not give up that 6th place without a fight, even with Waldron and his new Octane. The former Anthony Cleal kart from a couple of years ago, so it's definitely got some pace in it and some pedigree. As you can see there, Schoen, Dybel, O'Neill all crossing the line back to back. And Waldron still looking at the back of Bell as they go through the S's, up towards the hairpin, into the little bit of camber. Bell kicks it sideways on the way in, Waldron keeps it far more in line. There's Dybel, there's Schoen, Kevin O'Neill on the back of Ron Schoen. Kieran Quirk starting to drift off the back a little bit, but he's going to keep it in. Now up towards Top Bend. Bell still ahead of Waldron, and now we're going to have a look at a replay. We're on board with Kevin O'Neill, and that's Alan Lewis going around, just too heavy on the brakes, lost the rear end, and then Billy's Blind claims another couple of mistakes. Meanwhile, that's David Good looking to have fallen back from Ben Joseph, and Dave Watts starting to extend his lead from Taylor Waldron, with Cleal and Schoen still on the back bumpers of each other. There's Dybel in the 77 ahead of Schoen. There's Kevin O'Neill, going to be putting the pressure on. Kieran Quirk doing a good job to stay with them, but back on board with Waldron once again. As we're looking up towards pit bend, you can see O'Neill starting to break away from these two a little bit, and David Watts with a new fastest lap of the race in the lead, extending that gap. You can see there just a quick flyby, the speed that they're going. Into Billy's Blind once again, Bell drifting out wide, Waldron trying to do his best to close in through the S's. And now on the ramp, the Sturmey straight towards the hairpin, over the little rise, down into the camber of the corner. You can keep it quite well stuck in there and use the curb on the exit. Now into the horseshoe, big curb on the inside, followed by a big drop. Don't want to be going over there, and sure enough, Waldron's reeling Bell in. But Bell pulls away. Meanwhile, back on the Sturmey straight, that's Alan Lewis. He's gotten back going again after his spin, so too is Jeff Webster, so all 15 still running that took the start. There's O'Neill, Bell, Waldron, Ben Joseph sticking with them, and there's Good, Dybel, Schoen and O'Neill. Meanwhile, you just saw there briefly the gap that Dave Watts is starting to pull away. Taylor Waldron with Cleal all over the back of him, and Taylor's father David Waldron all over the back of Bell, so both Waldrons in a battle. Shown on the back of Dybel as well, with Kevin O'Neill closing in. These three all battling in the Masters Championship as well. Back on board with Waldron as we come down across the start line. About 4 laps to go, give or take a few seconds. And into Billy's Blind, can Waldron do anything? Back on board to the static camera. There's Dybel, Schoen, O'Neill. Kieran Quirk still going well. Meanwhile, Waldron looking at the inside of Bell into the hairpin. Nothing doing this lap. And there's the three-way battle in behind. Ben Joseph doing well. There's David Good staying ahead of Dybel. Meanwhile, up to pit bend once again, and Bell makes a small mistake. That's going to let Waldron close in. Just under a minute left on the clock, so it's going to be a minute plus a lap. Into Billy's Blind once more. Bell stays ahead of Waldron, but David Waldron is definitely within attacking range now. And that's Kevin O'Neill up the inside of Ron Schoen, but Schoen's going to cut back underneath and retake the 11th place. It's going to give Paul Dybel some respite as well in 10th. You can see there Schoen and O'Neill still battling hard. There's another Schoen and O'Neill just up ahead in 4th and 5th, and here's David Watts coming around. This is going to be the second to last lap. You can see the lead that David Watts is pulling away. Waldron still in second, Cleal right behind him. That's Sarita Schoen, and I believe that's Jeff Webster being put a lap down ahead of Russell O'Neill. But back on board with Waldron through the S's, through the right, through the left, and opening up onto the Sturmey straight. Bell's just about got the legs to stay away from Waldron here, but he gets sideways under braking. Waldron closes the gap in again. David Good closing in on Ben Joseph. Ron Schoen and Kevin O'Neill reeling in Paul Dybel again. And now back out through Buttons and up to top bend. David Watts, new personal best, starts the last lap. And this is Bell and Waldron 6th and 7th. They're going to start their final lap. Not much time left for Waldron to make a move. And Bell's going to keep it tidy through Billy's Blind. Now through the S's, over the curb, stay off the exit curb and up the Sturmey straight. Bell defensive. And here we have Russell O'Neill, who's just up the road from them, going through the horseshoe. See that big curb, and now on board with David Watts out of the final corner and down the start-finish straight. So take the checkered flag. David Watts takes the win of NKRA and Blue Challenge Round 2, and that's Kieran Quirk with a problem. Fortunately for him though, he's gotten onto that final lap, so he's going to guarantee himself 13th place and top novice honours. So David Watts is going to take the win from Taylor Waldron ahead of Cleal, Sarita Schoen, Russell O'Neill, Michael Bell, David Waldron, Ben Joseph with a strong 8th place in his return, David Good with a good solid 9th, the top of the legends, ahead of Paul Dybel, with Ron Schoen and Kevin O'Neill getting to the end on the lead lap. Kieran Quirk, I don't think he's actually going to be able to get to the finish there, but he's going to be classified 13th regardless, ahead of Alan Lewis and Jeff Webster. As you can see, all the drivers paying their respects to the camera personnel and the marshals around this circuit. They've had a difficult day of the marshals and they've performed excellently, always being said that the marshals are the true heroes of motorsport. And once again, they're proving it, as now we're on board with Russell O'Neill heading down towards the pit lane and towards Park Ferme. There's Kieran Quirk, so he's not going to be able to make it back, but he does classify 13th place and will receive the top novice honours. He's now on board with David Watts into Scrutineering, going up onto the weighbridge. And here we see a replay of the final lap. This is David Waldron going into the horseshoe. He's going to send a move up the inside of Bell, and he looks to have it all done, but Bell on the power round the outside manages to keep 6th place. So good move there from Bell, and that's actually going to be pretty significant because in post-race scrutineering, Sarita Schoen has been disqualified for a technical infringement. I believe it was a wheel hub slipping in the final race, making the rear track too wide, and that's going to change everything past 4th place. But for confirmation, David Watts is going to take the win ahead of Taylor Waldron with Anthony Cleal in 3rd. Russell O'Neill moves up to 4th ahead of Bell in 5th with David Waldron 6th. Ben Joseph 7th ahead of David Good, Paul Dybel and everybody else finishing in behind. And what's that going to do to the championship? David Watts is going to continue to lead ahead of Taylor Waldron up to 2nd. Stuart Gray is going to hold on to 3rd ahead of Anthony Cleal, with O'Neill 5th, Bell 6th. Nigel Vickery in 7th ahead of Sarita Schoen, David Waldron and Paul Alexander with a non-start here in the final today. I think his chain came off on the rolling lap, so that's going to be a big disappointment for Alexander, but he's going to hold on to 10th place in the championship for the moment. And here we see the Blue Master and veteran standings. Anthony Cleal leading the way in the Masters ahead of Stuart Gray with Russell O'Neill, David Waldron and Nigel Vickery in behind. Similar story in the veterans, only Cleal and Gray equal on 0 in the lead ahead of David Waldron, with Vickery and David Good tied on 4th place on 5 points apiece, with Dybel, Alexander, Mark Cook and Kevin O'Neill in behind. And in the Blue Legends, Stuart Gray and David Good still tied for the lead of the championship, 0 points apiece ahead of Mark Cook, with Kevin O'Neill and Ron Schoen in 5th. And in the top weights, Mark Cook is going to hold on to the lead there. And now you can see the results of the Tabor Customer Championship. Russell O'Neill extending his lead there, with Mike Bell putting up the best of the rest, ahead of Ron Schoen, with David Waldron and Anthony Cleal rounding out the top 5, ahead of David Good, with Kevin O'Neill, Sarita Schoen, Paul Alexander and Nigel Vickery rounding out the top 10 in the Tabor Customer Prize Fund. And that is going to be it for the Formula Blues at Clay Pigeon. Not long to wait now until the next time the Blues hit the track. It's going to be at Forestedge in a little over 3 weeks. So we will see you then.